Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times, and on this edition of These Urban Times present Sideline Stories, we'll be speaking on Super Bowl 56 that's set to take place in Los Angeles this weekend. We'll be joined today by a familiar face, a gentleman in which you've seen on our program several times. He's doing phenomenal things in Southern California and the West Coast in general, and actually he's becoming international. Nitecast Media's own Nick Hamilton. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. You're on the ground in Los Angeles. You have your boots on the soil right now. You're on Media Row for everything that's taking place for Super Bowl 56. And you cover the Los Angeles Rams. Matter of fact, you've been covering them for a few seasons now, so you're the perfect gentleman to speak on into this matter. I want to know about your thoughts on the Los Angeles Rams season, what they've been doing this postseason, and how did we get here? How did the Los Angeles Rams get to this position where they're one game away with an opportunity to win the Super Bowl on their home turf at SoFi Stadium?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to the moves they made in the offseason. I mean, the preparation that they made for this moment, acquiring Matthew Stafford in a trade for their number one pick and Jared Goff. Also looking at just how they were able to manage and get through injuries. Obviously, they lost Cam Akers for the season, at least the regular season at that point, and then making adjustments and moves, trying to get another running back into the fold. And they end up acquiring Sony Michel, and then building him with Darrell Henderson at the time, who did an outstanding job in Cam Akers' absence until he got injured, and then Cam was able to return. And then we saw that playoff run with Cam Akers and Sony Michel. And then also, too, you look at Andrew Whitworth, the elder statesman, being at the left tackle, being the cerebral assassin on the offensive line that he is, being able to keep Matthew Stafford as upright as possible throughout the season. Then when you look at on the defensive side of the ball, you know, them having Jalen Ramsey. We can't talk enough about the greatness of Jalen Ramsey, but also Aaron Donald, who is a future Hall of Famer right now before they even take the stage at Super Bowl 56. And then we look at Leonard Floyd. We look at Ernest Jones. We look at guys like that. But then the acquisition of Von Miller and his, cerebral assassin on the defensive side of the ball, and the veteran leadership that he brings to the table. And then also, too, we got, and I'm saying we like I'm on the team now. But you look at what the Rams were able to acquire with Odell Beckham Jr. And then, unfortunately, days after that, they lost Robert Woods to an ACL injury. And so they went through a really bad stretch of games in that 3-game stretch. I mean, it was brutal. But they were able to weather the storm, get back into the situation where we didn't know if they were going to actually make Super Bowl 56 because the Week 18 loss against their arch nemesis, San Francisco 49ers, but they were able to somehow bounce back. The question became, can Matthew Stafford get it done? He was 0-2 previously in the playoffs with the Detroit Lions, and then now he's a perfect 3-0 in the playoffs, and hopefully he'll be 4-0, which will end up getting the Los Angeles Rams raising that Vince Lombardi trophy on Sunday, February 13th at SoFi Stadium.
When the Rams actually advanced to the Super Bowl, you were the first gentleman in which I thought about. A few years ago, when the Super Bowl was here in Atlanta, me and you got together at a few events, and we spoke on Super Bowls of the future and how Super Bowl 56 would be in your backyard in Los Angeles. We spoke on SoFi Stadium, all the things that were going on in the Inglewood area, with you being a Los Angeles native, and you gave me a lot of great insight on the plans that were in that area, and some ways in which the community was looking to gain some investments from everything the Los Angeles Rams and SoFi Stadium had planned. Being where we are today and seeing the Rams again, one victory away from winning the Super Bowl, and with the Super Bowl being hosted at SoFi Stadium, give me some insight in what you think about this return on investment. This is a pretty quick return on investment. And also let me know, is this a failed experience if the Los Angeles Rams do not win the Super Bowl?
Well, to answer your first question, the Rams has always been that we were cashing all our chips in at once. We're putting it all on the table. We're putting all on the line. And trust me, this is a team that you want to take with you to Vegas because they don't hesitate. They don't flinch. They're going to cash all their chips in. And when you look at, and I think they learned a lot. Even when we spoke with Les Snead earlier this week, Just what did they learn specifically from the last Super Bowl? And obviously they were inexperienced. They were as prepared as they could be, but they were a lot of inexperienced moments. And for Les Snead and Kevin Demoff, who's the COO, Sean McVay, obviously head coach, and their relationship, they were able to make adjustments rather quickly, understanding the dynamic and the landscape, understanding what L's that they took and turned those into lessons. So now here we are at Super Bowl 56, where they're able to fight and compete for a Super Bowl title. And they made a lot of different moves. Some had to do with cap, some had to do with just personality wise. And then also, too, you look at what the Rams can do in the future. You talk about, is it a failure? It would be a failed season, I think, only because the level of expectations are so high because of the caliber of players that you have on the squad on offense, defense, and special teams. But also, too, when you look at what goes on just in the personnel department, I think it could be a definitely positive for the city. This being a Dodger and Laker town, and most recently the Dodgers and Lakers have won championships in their respective sports in the same year. So it would only be fitting for the Los Angeles Rams to try to duplicate that and win in this year and win for the city. And if they do win for the city, then they'll be probably the three slot when it comes to the level of popularity when it comes in the city of Los Angeles, because two things LA loves: stars and winners. And when you're putting great product on the field, you're able to put yourself in a higher probability bracket of trying to accomplish just that. And also, too, let's not forget the Los Angeles Rams will have an extra $39 million in cap because Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Michael Brockers, and Deshaun Jackson's contracts all come off the books, in addition to the cap being raised even more so for the upcoming season. So that's going to give them some cap flexibility as well. And then they get that fourth round compensatory draft pick back because of John Johnson III moving on to the Cleveland Browns. So that's going to help them as well. And we all know how the last couple of years that the Rams have drafted pretty well from second round to the fifth round, between second and the fifth rounds of the draft. So that's going to help them tremendously. I think the one question they need to answer is the secondary, not named Jalen Ramsey. I know, Jordan Fuller is going to return off his injury, but I think they need a veteran presence. What they have in Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle's been directing traffic, and he's done a really good job directing traffic and understanding the defensive schemes. But you're going to need somebody that's going to be able to give you at least another 2 to 3 years if you're trying to make this run that you're trying to make, much like how we saw what the Patriots did and the Tampa Bay Bucks attempted to do before the Rams dethroned them in the divisional round. So I think the Rams are on a great trajectory as far as just being able to win. I'm not going to sit up here. I haven't been drinking yet. It's not 5 o'clock where I am. So I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, they're going to go back to back to back. No. To repeat in this league, as you well know, Terrell, is difficult as it comes. So if you're able to get into the playoffs, I mean, that's an accomplishment in itself coming off a Super Bowl win. But I do think they can build for the future. And I do think this Rams team in the next maybe 5 to 6 years can at least pull off at least 2 Super Bowl championships if they're able to build right and be able to get guys in position for them to win.
Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times present Sideline Stories. And once again, we're joined by Nitecast Media's own sports and entertainment expert, Nick Hamilton. You see him everywhere, all the NBA and NFL games, on all the red carpets. So, Nick, I got a question for you, and I have so many that I got to keep, make sure we get in as many as possible. Outside of Aaron Donald, who do you feel like will be the MVP or, let's say, the most impactful player for these Los Angeles Rams? Who will be the most impactful player for these Los Angeles Rams to win Super Bowl 56 against the Cincinnati Bengals?
I know this is not maybe a direct answer to your question. I'm going to say the Los Angeles Rams defense as a whole.
Okay.
In the interior defense, the secondary, they're all going to have to be on one accord like a Honda, because there's no way you're going to go against Joe Burrow and think that it's going to take one individual. I've said this time and time again, Joe Burrow has not seen a defense like composed of Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Ernest Jones, who's returned in that interior defense. So those are guys that are really going to be on point. Everybody's focusing on Aaron Donald, but the guy that everybody should be paying attention to is Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd could be the one to get the first sack off on Joe Burrow. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because I think all of the attentions are going to be placed on Von Miller and Aaron Donald, as they should, respectfully. But also, too, let's not forget Leonard Floyd and his contributions consistently throughout the season, that nationally have not been recognized, locally have, maybe regionally have, but nationally have not. So this is the point where Leonard Floyd, I think, takes that stage and really makes his name synonymous, not only being a champion, but being an integral part and an intricate part of that Los Angeles Rams interior defense.
Now, Nick, you mentioned Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool. Gentleman has several names right now. We know about all the great things in which we've seen him do on the collegiate level, all the accolades and all the accomplishments he made, the Heisman Trophy, winning a national championship. But now in the NFL, in just 2 seasons, he has his team just one victory away from winning the Super Bowl. So I want to know about Joe Burrow this postseason. What are your thoughts? He beat some very impressive teams, beating Patrick Mahomes, a phenomenal quarterback. What are your thoughts on Joe Burrow? And what are your thoughts on this Cincinnati Bengals team throughout the postseason? Phenomenal offense, 3 elite wide receivers, a great running back in Joe Mixon, a gentleman who could have been a Coach of the Year candidate in their head coach in Zach Taylor. So a phenomenal young team, ahead of schedule if you ask me, but a team who has certainly earned their stripes this season and throughout this postseason. So talk to me about Joe Burrow and your thoughts on these Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, I think Joe Burrow, I think this is not the best team in the AFC, but it's the most mentally tough and sound team we've seen in the AFC, and they've proven that. With all the criticism that they took early on in the season, wondering how Joe Burrow returns from that devastating injury that he suffered. Jamar Chase got unfair criticism because he wasn't catching balls. He wasn't picking up the offense as quickly as everybody anticipated him doing. But like I tell people all the time, listen, there are times where the NFL is much faster, stronger, and more agile. So there's an adjustment period. And because Jamar Chase was drafted over them drafting an O lineman, I would have taken Jamar Chase any day of the week. And I challenge you. I'll take the Pepsi challenge on that any day of the week for Jamar Chase. We saw what he did in the SEC, even speaking with him earlier in the week, asking him how the SEC prepared him, and playing in that championship prepared him for the NFL. And he said, listen, SEC is the best conference in college football. You have a level of expectation that exceeds probably logic sometimes, or even, availability. But it did help him, and it prepared him mentally to get to the point. And that's why he was so, he persevered through all the negative criticism and was able to continue to work hard and stuck to the grind. And that's why he's been successful. That's more than likely why he's going to be the offensive rookie of the year for the AFC, because this guy is absolutely big time. He's box office, he's showtime. Every adjective you could put in front of him, that's exactly what he is, as far as just being a major factor on this team. This is a guy who, you talk about Joe Burrow, he's tough as nails. This kid is not the age that he is. I swear he has an old soul. This is not Joe Hio is what I like to call him, because this guy put the entire state on the map. This is a guy that has definitely been able to deal with the criticism, deal with the cheers and the accolades, and still remain even keeled. He's cooler than a polar bear's toenails. So we all seen that. We see how he comes out. He has a swag. He has the attitude. And he knows how to motivate and lead a team. And he's proven that through all the obstacles he's had to go through in the playoffs. That O-line has been built on quicksand, so they have to find a way to be able to keep him upright, because good Lord, I think it was the game against the Titans or Buffalo. I can't remember. But he got sacked 9 times. You get a kid like that sacked 9 times, he's going to be the new version of David Carr. And that's not what you want. That's not what you invested in if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. So that is definitely got to be priority number one. I know the other areas that you mentioned, I agree with you on that. But priority number one has to be that offensive line.
Nick, I won't take up much more of your time. I appreciate you joining us as you have, again, your feet to the ground, your boots in the soil with everything that's taking place right now in Southern California at SoFi Stadium. and on Radio Row for Super Bowl 56 as these Los Angeles Rams will be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. But I have a two-part question for you. This one right here will be a two-part question. What can we expect from the Pepsi halftime show? We'll see the likes of legendary acts like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige. So that should be a phenomenal experience right there. Definitely looking forward to see what they have lined up and any special guests that they may bring out as well. And then for people who have not been to the Inglewood area, who this will be their first time coming to SoFi Stadium in the SoFi area for Super Bowl week or Super Bowl 56, if they're actually attending the event, give me somewhere they should grab a great bite to eat, whether inside the venue or outside the stadium, inside of SoFi or outside of SoFi, a venue, maybe inside or outside, some local restaurants in which they should check out and enjoy while they're enjoying everything that the NFL has planned for Super Bowl 56.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, the press conference that we had on Thursday, just to see Dre and Snoop and Mary J. Blige, who were there, it was hosted by MJ Acosta Ruiz, who hosts, obviously, Total Access on the NFL Network, and Nate Burleson, two great individuals to do a fantastic job. So they couldn't have found better hosts for these big-time artists and guests, like I just mentioned. But listen, it's going to be phenomenal. I believe it's about 13 minutes or so. And it's probably going to be one of the most impressive 13 minutes. It's probably going to be one of the best halftime shows we've seen. It's probably going to be in the top 3. We know about Michael Jackson. We know about Prince. And I'll put Prince at number 1. I love Beyonce. I think Beyonce was great. But I think this is going to definitely usurp Beyonce and put this halftime show in the top 3. Dr. Dre being the master creator that he is. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. We haven't heard from Kung Fu Kenny in a long time, so it'd be great to see him back out there. Mary J. Blige, the great work that she's done on Power and just being the queen of hip hop soul that she is, and be on the lookout for some special guests. I think I have an idea who that special guest or guest may be, but I'm not going to let the cat out the bag. I'm not going to have Dr. Dre mad at me and Pepsi and the good folks at Rock Nation mad at me. But I do think I have an idea of what the special guests. You definitely want to stay tuned. If you have the opportunity to be at the game and watch it live at the game, it's going to be an incredible experience. I mean, big props to Pepsi, big props to Rock Nation and Jesse Collins, who put it all, and Jay-Z, who put it all together. It's going to be an experience amongst experiences when you're at SoFi. I mean, that Oculus is amazing. That's one thing you have to check out while you're at SoFi. I mean, can you imagine, Terrell, you and I both have children. So imagine having your kid having a party there and playing Xbox on that Oculus. Your kid would love you forever, right? Just to be in that joint. And then one restaurant I would suggest people to check out is called Orleans in York Deli. They're Black-owned, great service, great food, different varieties of food. It's incredible. One of the best place inside SoFi Stadium, hands down.
Nick, thank you very much, man. We have so much love and respect for you. Much love for your time today. It's greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. We appreciate you giving us some insight and giving us your thoughts on what's taking place right now for Super Bowl 56. Please take a moment and share with our viewers, share with our audience how they can stay in tune with all the great things you have going on, how they can stay in tune with your social media networks, with your social media channels, and how they can contact you.
I mean, you know me, man. I always appreciate you. I admire you, man. You keep me on my toes, man. Because damn sure, when I go to sleep, you putting out content. I'm like, man, I'm 60 rows behind now, man. But it's a great thing. Congratulations to you, man, on all your success as well. It's hard work, but it's the dedication and the consistency that you put together, man, that continues to thrive and showcase to the masses, man. So big props to you. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA. You can also catch me on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213, which I've actually posted up content from Thursday's halftime show presser, features Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Mary J. Blige. Also, too, you can find me at nitecastmedia.com. That's nitecastmedia.com, NITECASTMEDIA. Your gateway to sports, pop culture, entertainment, tech, and community all rolled into one. And then also make sure you subscribe to me on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/NH Experience TV. Thank you so much, Terrell, brother. I appreciate you. And keep holding it down in the A, man, and across the country, bro. I'm watching.
Much love, man. Once again, Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times. We thank you for sitting down and joining us today. Make sure you follow Nick. He has a lot of great things going on. Stay tuned to These Urban Times and Live Hip Hop Daily as we'll be bringing you a lot more in sports and entertainment.